Good morning. Welcome to Living Beyond Limits. You all know I'm Reverend Jennifer Spear, and we are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living. I'm so glad that you've joined us this morning, and if you're joining us online, welcome also to our Sunday morning service. And so I invite you to join me right now in reading our mission statement that's on the front of your bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. That's what we're doing, is we are waking up to our own spiritual nature, to the fact that that one infinite presence that expresses itself as all of life also expresses itself within us and through us and as us. And that means then whatever is true of spirit, that we are that in the microcosm. That if spirit is a presence of love and intelligence and peace and goodness, all of those qualities are innate to our own beingness. What happens is that when we know that, then when we are out in the world and the world is not reflecting back those things to us, it's not being peaceful or loving or generous or any of those things, we then know that we can tap into that within ourselves. It doesn't have to be outside of us in order for us to have it. So we can be more loving or gentle or kind or inclusive or whatever the world is calling for or the situation is calling for in that moment. And as we do that, we become a beneficial presence, not just to ourselves, but to all of those around us. And because everything is connected to everything else, it actually affects the whole, because we live in this collective pool of consciousness of humanity. So we actually nudge that forward and grow that consciousness as we act that way in the world. And so I thank every one of you for answering the call of your spirit to be walking this path, to be bringing your light into the world in a way that is beneficial to everyone. Thank you for that. So I'm going to actually start with a story today. It's called Looking for the Missing Ring. It says, Mullah had lost his ring in the living room. He searched for it for a while, but since he could not find it, he went out into the yard and began to look there. His wife saw what he was doing and asked him, Mullah, you lost your ring in the room. Why are you looking for it in the yard? Mullah stroked his beard and said, the room is too dark. I can't see very well. I came out to the courtyard to look for my ring because there is much more light out here. We are like that. We do that. We want to experience peace, peace within ourselves and peace within our lives. We want to feel safe and secure and know that we are okay and that we will be okay. We want to live in that awareness, really, that all is well with us. Really, all is well with our souls. Because when we know that we are safe and secure and that all is well, then we can let go and we can relax and we can be open to all the good that life has to offer us. The problem is, though, is we look for our peace out in the world. We think that we're going to find our peace out in the world, and then we don't. So we get grumpy and we get stressed out. Yes? You look for your peace in the world and then it's not there and you get grumpy and stressed out about it. You know, we think that things have to be a certain way out there in order for us to be okay and to be peaceful, in order for us to feel safe and secure. Do you do that one too? You know, we think that the world is responsible for our peace or our lack of peace. But it's like looking for that missing ring outside when the ring is really in the house. So the truth is that peace actually begins with an internal state. Peace begins with a state of consciousness. Peace in our world and peace in our lives begins by discovering and actuating the peace that already resides within us. It is about creating an atmosphere of peace in our minds. That means in our thinking and in our feeling and in our belief systems. You know, like a belief system of having that belief that life is for you, or a belief that spirit is always right where you are regardless of what's going on in your life, or holding the belief that spirit is bigger than any seeming problem in your life or in the world, or knowing that you are an eternal being, and that eternal beingness of yourself cannot be damaged or destroyed or obliterated, that nothing can hinder or harm that. Or a belief knowing that you are sourced at all times by an infinite presence of good, by an infinite intelligence. The problem is that we forget. We forget that our consciousness is the thing that creates peace in our lives and peace in our experience. We forget that we create our lives through our consciousness, through what we think about, through what we focus on, through what we worry about, through what we fret about, what we think about, what we talk about. All of that is what we create our experience out of. You know, I'm always amazed when I hear people at the salon complaining. Someone that works there will complain to every client that comes in about something that's going on in their lives. Don't you realize you're creating your experience out of that? If you were focused on something else, believing something else, you'd be having a totally different inner experience. So we create our lives through the vibration of our thought. The feeling of that thought we create out of that, our feelings and our beliefs. And so Ernest Holmes, the founder of this philosophy, said, whatever you identify yourself with, you will become like. Whatever you resist until you make it a reality, you will also become like. Therefore, resist not evil, and it will flee from you. Don't fight your fears, see through them. There is nothing in God's world to be afraid of. So we forget that spirit is present in every moment, in every situation, and in us. So to see through that, we are called to see through our fear, we are called to remember then that spirit is present in every moment, in every situation, in every conversation, in everything that we do, and in every situation in the world. We see through that fear when we remember that spirit can meet every need that we have. We can see through that fear when we remember there is an I am presence within us, and that if we listen within, it leads us and guides us and protects us and keeps us safe. Not when we listen to the voice of the ego, but when we listen within, it guides us. We see through our fear when we remember that we are eternal beings, that the I within us cannot be injured, cannot be damaged, cannot be destroyed. Ernest Holmes said, "Be not afraid. It is I." This I is you. This you is God within you. This God within you is peace. The God within you is peace. It's always right there. So when we have a felt sense, when we feel and sense and know that spirit is within us, then we can rise above that voice of fear and our egoic mind. And we know that voice of the ego is so loud, and it's so persistent, and it's so believable. We must create time for ourselves that we can get out of that monkey mind and get out of that mind chatter so that we can experience something else. Capital S, something else. So that in turn we can find that within us, capital T, that within us, that is beneath that ego, that thing that is eternal and unmoving. When we touch that, we have this sense listening within that all is well with our soul. We touch the I of that I am. That is the only place where peace exists at every moment. Peace doesn't exist in many places in the world. That within is the only place that we can find peace at any moment. It's always there. And so we become aware of that peace within ourselves through meditation, through spiritual practice, through coming here, through spending time in nature, through reading spiritual material of things that inspire us and help us remember what we know deep within ourselves. But when we are able to move through our lives with a consciousness of peace. But it takes practice. It takes listening to something else besides the news and the complainers and the negativity within our own heads. Then we can move through our lives with a consciousness of oneness, a consciousness of peace, a consciousness of our oneness with that ultimate essence of life. There we feel peace. And when we feel that peace, then we radiate that peace into our environments, into our friendships, into our relationships, into the world. There's a story that says, once when Nobel Peace Prize winner Archbishop Desmond Tutu of South Africa was speaking at the General Theological Seminary in New York City, one of the students sitting in the audience nudged the dean who was sitting next to him, and he whispered, "Desmond Tutu is a holy man." To which the dean responded and asked, "How do you really know this?" To which the student responded, "I know that Desmond Tutu is holy because when I'm with him, I feel holy." I think we all know that experience of being with someone that enables us to feel whatever that is inside of ourselves also. So when we are peaceful and calm and trusting and knowing that life is for us and being anchored in that solid core of our own being, we radiate that out into life. And we radiate that into that collective consciousness of humanity. And when we do that, it actually helps other people find that in themselves. Think about that. I see Trish sitting here and I think about her little kids. I'm sure that when you are peaceful, it's easier for your kids to find that peace inside of them. When you're frantic and running around, it's not as easy for them. We radiate that out into our environment. And it helps others find that inside of themselves as well. And it helps them find that that is outside of themselves as well as inside of themselves. Joel Goldsmith said, this was actually the inspiration for my talk. Joel Goldsmith said, "Peace must begin somewhere. It must begin in the individual. Spiritual light has always entered consciousness through one individual. so permeated with truth that a dozen disciples here or a half dozen there have caught hold of it. And then from them come the 50, the 200, the thousands. No one can be a light of the world. They can only be the light that sparks the light in others until it spreads around the world. So it is that we become that one in our household, that one in our neighborhood, and perhaps even the one to a whole nation or a group of nations. It always begins with one. Every time we consciously remember that the only life there is on earth is the life of God, we are helping allay fear. We are helping to restore the peace that passes understanding. Only when peace shall have been established in our innermost being will peace be restored throughout the world. Every time we consciously remember that the only life there is on earth is the life of God. That's the life we are each living. And so the title of my talk today is Propagating Peace. And I'm talking about that peace begins within us and begins within our consciousness. And that to attain a consciousness of peace then comes out of us feeling safe and secure and protected. That peace comes out of knowing that we are sourced at all times by an infinite intelligence, by a force for good, because spirit is at the center of us, and spirit is at the center of our lives. And God's life is the only life there is. You are never separate from that presence of spirit. Never separate from the peace of spirit or the love of spirit. Never separate from the intelligence of spirit or the good that spirit is. That is the spiritual presence that permeates all things. The only life there is on earth is the life of God. And so I would like to invite you to join me in a meditation right now. And so I invite you just to allow yourself to rest in your innermost being. Not in your head, but in your body. Maybe in your heart space. And as we become aware of that quiet center within, where there is absolute silence, perfect peace, we allow ourselves to be immersed in the experience of this holy place within. In this stillness, we open ourselves to the infinite. We move beyond our limited boundaries, our limited ego self. And in this stillness, we expand. We expand into the vastness of pure being. Here lies the pure potentiality of the universe. Peace, wholeness, As we let go of our limited ideas about ourselves, about who we are, that infinite potential becomes readily available to us. Here, in this place of pure being, we grasp that the presence of the One, the infinite, is always present. Always here, awaiting our turning to it. Our soul knows this truth, for it is one and the same essence as the infinite itself. As we merge and meld into this oneness, we have a sense of coming home. Home to ourselves, home to spirit, home to peace, home to oneness. Our spirit says, yes, this is who I am. This is what I am. I am home. As we touch this truth of being, healing occurs. And we expand, and we are empowered. And we realize that there is so much more than our waking eyes perceive. Here in this communion, we know that infinite potential, peace, wholeness, boundlessness is ours. It is what we came from. It is what we are sourced and maintained by. It is who we are. We live in this infinite potentiality. This is our life. We live and move and have our being in and as that. This is the I am of our own being. And so we just rest here for a moment. Here is peace. the peace that passes understanding. Here is wholeness. Here is the I of the I am. And so I invite you to begin to release the meditation. Feeling your body, feeling your feet on the floor. Maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes and allow yourself to come back fully present into this space. And when you're ready to open your eyes. That is where you find your peace. And that is with you all of the time. Available all of the time. And when we sit in that, we have a sense that all is well in this moment right here. Ernest Holmes says, if there is anything we need, it is peace of mind. Peace of mind comes only when there is a personal and collective sense of security. This sense of security comes when there is a sense of belonging to the universe. It is when the soul returns to its source and finds its true center in pure spirit that it enters into that peace which the world cannot give. That is the peace the world cannot give. And so my invitation to you this week is to commune with that within you, to find that center regularly so that you can move back into that place when you need to commune with that until it becomes a felt knowingness in your body. And know that the only life there is the life of God. To rest in your oneness with that presence, that ultimate essence of life, that is the thing itself. Know that you are safe, know that you are secure, and that truly all is well with your soul. And when you find yourself experiencing something that is unlike peace, to ask yourself, remember Ernest Holmes talked about seeing through the thing, ask yourself, what is it that I need to know right here? What is it that I need to know right here in this experience? What is it that I need to know about spirit right here in this situation? Do you need to know a truth that we are all eternal beings? Do you need to know the truth that the wisdom and the intelligence of the divine are expressing themselves in that situation? Do you need to know that God is bigger than this seeming problem? Do you need to know that life supports thriving? Life is for thriving, it supports that. And if you can't figure out what it is that you need to know in a given situation that is causing you stress, that is causing you to have anxiety and to worry and fear and be unpeaceful, talk to a practitioner. They can help you figure out what it is that you need to know in that situation so that you can find the peace within yourself. Talk to a practitioner or talk to me. We're happy to help you. But know that spirit is present. And know that in spirit is the answer to every question, is the solution to every seeming problem. in Spirit is the way forward. And then rest in that peace inside of yourself. And from there, you'll be experiencing peace within and propagating peace in this world. And so blessings to all of you as you walk this path of being a light for yourself and being a light in this world and being the beneficial presence that you came here to be. Blessings to all of you. And so I invite you to join me right now as we turn our attention to the capital T truth. That yes, indeed, we do live and move and have our beingness within this one presence. This presence of Spirit that is absolute intelligence. This presence of Spirit that is the peace that passes understanding. That is a presence and a force for good. That is life itself. And that I know that we, each one of us in this room, that we are out picturings of that presence. That we are open conduits through which that light and the love and the peace and the good of Spirit flow through. For we have incarnated on this planet in this lifetime to shine our light. To be a light in the darkness. To bring light where others cannot see it, to bring healing and to bring good, to bring love, to bring our hearts, to bring our kindness and our care. And so I know right now that we are led from on high, that Spirit goes before us and makes the way open and plain and smooth for us to live our greatest lives, for us to have a great impact on those in our lives, that we listen within. And from that place of peace and wholeness, we have much to share, much to give. And I speak this word not just about us here in this room, but I speak this word about every single person on this planet, knowing that Spirit is also right where they are, unfolding itself as the good that each person desires. For it is Spirit's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. And the kingdom is already here for the taking. Already here, it only requires an opening. And so I do know that in the hearts and minds of humanity right now, there is an opening and Spirit is flowing in a greater way than it ever has before as peace, as solutions, as answers that support this planet, that support the animal life and the plant life and the people on this planet. Those answers are already available. They are already present, and they are being discovered and uncovered right now. I speak this word about every world leader, every politician, every decision maker, knowing that the love that God is right now is bursting forth in their hearts like never before. Love and light and goodness. For the Spirit is bigger and grander and more powerful than any seeming obstacle. And Spirit is having its way. And so it is with a heart filled with gratitude for recognizing and knowing and living this life of Spirit, for knowing this truth, that I release this word into that creative law of the universe, knowing that it is unfolding itself all around us as an abundance of good. And so in celebration of that good, I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. And so I do have a couple of invitations for you. One is that the 4th Sunday of June, which is a month from this Sunday, we're going to be having service in the park and a picnic afterwards. So just wanted to let you know so you can put that on your calendars. Our Sunday talks are available online. They get posted on Tuesday, so we invite you to share them with your friends and with people who you think might be interested in hearing this message. to help us grow on social media, check in on Facebook, follow us on Facebook, share the talks. They get posted to Facebook also. Follow us on Instagram, check in on Meetup and say that you're coming, and that we have prayer support after service. If you would like to sit with a practitioner, they are happy to pray with you. We have a Ministry of Prayer box. You can fill out a prayer request. We will support you during the week. And we have prayer shawls available if you want to take a prayer shawl with you to wrap yourself or someone in that energy of prayer. And so I invite you to repeat after me, good fills my life now.
Good fills my life now.
I recognize it.
I
savor it.
savor it.
I live it.
I live
I own it.
I own it.
And so it is.